Good morning, everyone. I'm gonna watch my buddy Chris take off here. One thing I want to really brag on Chris, you see him get a near picture perfect launch and a good long hard run, low wind situation. Chris has got a lot of flights in, but he's still relatively new to paramotor world. And one thing, right after training when he first got with us, this guy, I haven't seen him really struggle with launching or landing at all. He's done really well. Just amazed at how solid and reliable he is. Unlike me, I've occasionally blown a launch or aborted a launch. Generally it happens. I'll try to rush and have a cravat or something that so I left the lines, didn't get the wing laid out quite right. Happened to me just the other morning. Um, but really, Chris been pretty rock steady, so he's done a great job here. Got my wing laid out after Chris in the road. It was a heavy dew morning. This video is just an average morning, but I think the idea is I've shown a lot of videos with my clutch problems and the gas tank issue and something going on. So this is just an enjoyable morning. It's kind of an ordinary morning flight for me, and just why I love paramotoring. You got to get up early in the morning, but get out in the fresh air. And it was low wind, so I had to blow some air over the wing to help get it up. And the challenge is always to run right down the middle of the road there. So did a pretty nice job here getting it up in the air and keeping it straight. Of course, we'll get up in the air. Time to go explore our main stomping grounds where we fly. There's usually a couple of feral hogs, or sometimes a lot more of them. And this morning there was at least a couple out in the field, right there close to our landing zone, our launch site. And so go spot those guys and move on to the next field. Here's a polo grounds that every once in a while I'll come over and buzz. And this morning, gotta love the low fog, a heavy dew kind of situation. Always do a little bit of a foot drag across here, and you see I'll turn around in a minute and inspect. And just beautiful scenery just to get up, and I'm looking back over my shoulder to kind of see the path that my motor has cut through the fog. And just really, that's why I love flying in the mornings, because views like this, just so peaceful. Of course, there I'm inspecting my track in the dew through the grass, the foot drag. Here's another site I think I've showed a time or two. Man, this would be a great place to build a home. It looks like somebody's had a house pad. Don't know why the house is not there anymore, but just look how awesome it would be to have a house situated on land like that. I think that's an area of sod farm. And of course, there's my buddy James. He didn't launch with us, but he lives 15-20 miles away, launches from his land, and this morning was his first foot drag. So the footage in the lower left is from him, from his head mount camera. I think this was his first foot drag, and there I've got him on the main video. He was the one on the right. Here I took James. I think this was the first time he'd flown over in kind of this one particular area that I really enjoy flying on kind of foggy mornings. It's an area where I know there's no power lines. We're kind of out in the middle. Be a long walk if we go down back to a road or something, but it's just great for flying low and buzzing around in the fields, and lots of hay out. And so here I'm gonna kind of coast down. James is following me back there, and I'm gonna take a track to the left. I'm gonna kind of give him what I would consider the best track through the field on the right. Here I'm going a little bit left, and I'll glance over my shoulder and spot him off to the right. And we got a little bit more footage from his head-mounted camera that I'll splice in here. Yeah, so here's the footage of James coming down in the field, and I think he definitely enjoyed this part of the flight from talking to him afterwards in the chat, in our group chat. And you can see me fly my wing off to the left there. We're gonna cruise this field. He's gonna come over and inspect a big line of round bales that have been kind of stacked up in the field. He's gonna pop up over the gap between these trees. I think it was a little bit narrow to be too sure you could make it. And here I'm gonna, on the left, I'm gonna pop over the fence row. And there I am popping over the fence row down into the hay bale field. And so this was just an ordinary morning of, you know, spotting a few feral hogs, foot drag a polo field, chase your buddy through some hay fields, and just enjoying the scenery with the low fog. And before you know it, it's time to go home back to your launch site, LZ. So here I'm going to try to get as close to my truck as I can, but I want to land in the road and I don't want to come up short. So if you park like that, you always have to walk a little bit extra, but pretty happy with my landing. One thing I'll mention here, if you notice, I've learned, it only took me a couple hundred flights before I do it reliably, but keeping my wing from landing on the nose in these low wind situations, key was to just keep walking. And I'll point that out. You know, Chris, I bragged on him. His launching and his landing is just superb. But you'll notice here at the end, he lets his wing come down on its nose, and maybe there's another reason. Maybe he knows this. I don't know if he's watching. You know, one thing I would suggest is just after you land, don't stop. Just keep walking a few more steps, and then of course you can get the wing to come down behind you. But anyway, otherwise, you know, he's launching so well, he should probably be giving me his advice. But hey, thanks for coming along and just enjoying a good ordinary morning flight with us. And we'll catch you on the next one. Have a good one, everybody.